Fuck you!
This is what most people think of when they hear DmC Devil May Cry, the reboot that almost killed the franchise. But what if I told you it was actually good? What if I told you that it doesn't deserve all the hate or strong dislike that it gets? And what if I told you that even some fans of the DmC series started to actually like this one? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'll even give everyone a possible what if to try and fix the narrative a bit and tie it to the main series. I'm Calypso, and this is Dante.
But you can call me Dante the Demon Killer. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think?
And DmC Devil May Cry is actually good. I've played this game a few times, first on release way back when, another time in 2019 or so, and again late last year, and I've spent a lot of the time trying to get good like all the DmC pros, and you know what? It's still a good time. I actually enjoy the narrative a lot more than most, and I think as far as Devil May Cry stories go, it's still solid. It's basically Devil May Cry 1 and 3 thrown into a blender. Dante and Vergil are still the exact same characters here from the core series, give or take some minor changes of course, and the female lead, Cat, is just emo lady from Devil May Cry 3. But I'll expand more on that on the narrative front in my what if section. If you do want to skip to that what if section, you can go here, and I've left the timestamp down below in the pinned comment. Note, there will be spoilers there for a majority of the Devil May Cry series, so this is your first warning, and if you want to skip the story section entirely, and spoilers and everything, I'll reiterate it again, but timestamps for both skipping it and getting there are down below. Now, let's focus on the main thing that makes a Devil May Cry game a Devil May Cry game, its gameplay. It's definitely not as complex as any other DmC game, but it doesn't need to be. The best DmC players managed to make the other games in the series look like a cakewalk. It looks like how those characters would actually fight, and here in DmC, with me and presumably someone else who might not be that great at the series, can get good with this one. Hell, I'd argue Devil May Cry 1 and this reboot could be your baby's first Devil May Cry gameplay-wise, and help new players get accustomed to how things flow with this series and be a solid base. Is it a bad thing that DmC is easy? No. I think there's a certain level of expectation with difficulty of these games, as they usually have a reputation for being nail-bitingly hard. Devil May Cry 1 and 3's normal modes, at least on the original PS2 releases, were actually the Japanese hard mode, so it's kind of insane any of us managed to make it through those things back in the day. Devil May Cry 2 is literal child's play, but we won't talk about that, and Devil May Cry 4 and 5 are more middle-of-the-road difficulty-wise, but you can always crank up the difficulty on any of these games if you are finding them just too easy. Now, this is the Steam version, so this little retrospective review will be focused on how that plays, but there is a Devil May Cry Director's Cut or Definitive Edition for consoles, and it took everyone's complaints about this and reworked it. You can mod all of these changes onto the PC version from Nexus Mods, but I didn't do that this round. Examples for the Definitive Edition versus the original version are: you are forced to use color-coded red and blue weapons on specific enemies, giving the combat, depending on who you ask of course, a strategic bit of challenge or just bullshit padding to extend lackluster combat. The Director's Cut has a speed adjuster to the combat, but not here in the original. The dodge mechanic has been updated. Combat has a lock-on mode now when it's not present in the original, but again, depending on who you ask, it doesn't matter much because how combat is handled here in this reboot, you can auto-lock onto anybody and can pull off combos without really thinking about it. I will say though that with all of these changes, it's a shame that the PC version never got an update to include all of these things and that you have to mod it in. I understand why the PC version didn't get any of these changes. It would take useless man hours to patch in everything all over again and get it working on PC when you just busted your ass getting the console versions working properly. But again, thanks to the modders, you can patch it in all yourself if you do so wish. Combat in DmC is very much style above all things over any substance whatsoever. And you could say that for the rest of the core series as well. But it's a bit more egregious here, I suppose, as well as in Devil May Cry 2 over any of the other games in the series. Dante locks on automatically. He can bounce from enemy to enemy like a trampoline with combos, and while it can look awesome now and again, you have zero control really, save for wherever your joystick is pointing to at the time, and it can interrupt a combo you were trying to do by auto-locking onto another enemy you didn't want to lock onto. Combos are done at the push of face buttons, and you'll swap weapons by holding down one of the triggers or letting go. And I'll tell you from my very first-hand experience, trying to master this thing is a bit insane. And props to the players who are crazy good at Devil May Cry. My brain doesn't have the muscle memory yet to be able to pat my head and rub my stomach at the same time, and that's what it feels like when you are trying to do any DmC combat really, in my opinion. And the inclusion of holding down, letting go, and trying to get that style meter up is the real challenge of Devil May Cry. Now, this is the easiest game in the series apart from Devil May Cry 2, from the original versions. So you could very well get away with doing the same move over and over and over again, and you'll get that style meter up. But why would you want to do that anyway? I think our monkey brains get bored easily, especially in hack and slash games like this, so we crave that fast movement and cool combos. So it's pretty instinctual, I'd say, that you would want to get good at Devil May Cry, or at least not do the same thing over and over and over again. I've already accepted I'll never be a pro here because while I do love this series, I simply don't play it that often, but props to those gamers who eat pizza on the daily like Dante and are experts here. You all are truly the storm that is approaching.
I am the storm that is approaching.
The combat here later on definitely ramps up and tests your skills. You have a few weapons at your disposal, a giant demon axe, a scythe, dual shurikens, Hulk hands, grappling hooks to pull you or the bad guys closer to you, your loyal sword rebellion,
Time for rebellion.
your two girlfriends Ebony and Ivory,
Ebony, Ivory, miss you girls.
and Yamato,
The Yamato for Vergil.
when you play as Dante's twin brother Vergil. They feel very Devil May Cry-like, and I think it's a giant understatement that Ninja Theory, the developers, managed to pull this thing off. They have some experience with Heavenly Sword, but more on that later. Sure, it's an easier game, but it's still fun to play, and you still feel like a badass, which is the ultimate goal, and that's overall the objective with these games, is to feel awesome and to look awesome. Style over substance. Visually and sonically, this almost meets and excels at the exact same thing the core series does. If there's one thing you can't complain about, it's the visuals. Sure, it came out when developers were using bloom every 5 minutes, but the basic use of color theory absolutely works, because it's basic color theory that tricks our brains. The bright reds, blues, yellows are gorgeous. Each level feels unique yet cohesive. The best one being a brief section where you go through the demonic TV network run by demonic Alex Jones. Evil nightclub with one of the best tracks in the entire game, and hell, the opening level is an evil version of Coney Island pretty much. There's an entire upside down level, no joke. This one nails the visuals, and I still think it's one of the best Devil May Cry games visually. Side note, if I get copyright claimed here, there won't be any sound, but if you need to talk about the music, you might as well talk about Combi Christ. Combi Christ did the soundtrack here, and it's simply fantastic. If fast combat is the focus of Devil May Cry games, the music is the reason you play these games. It's kind of insane they released a full game along with this banger album, kind of like Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. fast, hard-hitting, industrial metal that sounds like glass is breaking into your ears. The music ramps up dynamically the better you play, achieving that goal of making you feel like a badass and wanting to play better. I said the nightclub level has one of the best tracks, just listen, unless I'm copyright claimed. Apart from that, we have ambient stuff from Noisa. Also very good, captures that eerie gothic soundscape that's oddly calming a bit. It's like Devil May Cry ambient music to kill demons to. Have a listen. Even if you don't play this game at all and you never touch any Devil May Cry game in your entire life, please do yourself a favor and just go put on the soundtracks. Your ears will thank you later. And much like other Devil May Cry games, or even Brutal Legend, if you aren't a metal fan right now, by the time you are done listening, you will be. Alright. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, but I need to go over some very brief behind the scenes stuff first. It'll be short, I promise. There's plenty of other vids that cover this exact same thing with way more depth, but I'm going to go over the very base details. Note, again, spoilers. All the spoilers, big spoilers. You've been warned to look back, turn away, back over the falls. If you want to skip this section, there's a timestamp down below for you to do that. Okay,
Let's rock.
Devil May Cry 4 came out. Didn't do that great for Capcom's high standards, and Devil May Cry 4 also has a troubled development, being notoriously rushed and unfinished. Suits at Capcom felt something was needed to change the series for some reason. After all, this was during that weird let's reboot everything phase of the 2010s, where whatever your favorite franchise is was getting a reboot. So why the hell not Devil May Cry? Enter Ninja Theory, the gang behind the recent Hellblade games, Journey to the West with robots, and surprisingly, Heavenly Sword, a Devil May Cry-like with a hot redhead set in fantasy China or something. It's interesting to note that Heavenly Sword feels like an almost prototype for what they would do with Devil May Cry. You have your swappable triggers that transform your rebellion into other versions of itself in Devil May Cry, and so here it is in Heavenly Sword, transforming the titular Heavenly Sword into a God of War chain weapon, an actual heavy sword like an axe, or a standard twin blade thing, which is your basic form. Ninja Theory steps in and is ready to make their own version of Devil May Cry. Dante is still his wacky woohoo pizza man self, even going so far as using his original design from Devil May Cry 1, and apparently this initial version was actually going to be a remake of Devil May Cry 1 or something, but I personally believe it was supposed to be a prequel to Devil May Cry 3, and I'll get to that in a little minute. The people you should probably blame, perhaps, for how this Devil May Cry game turned out:
Devil May Cry 3 and 4 director Hideaki Itsuno and Keiji Inafune, who urged Ninja Theory to explore more alternative options,
is the main reason why DmC isn't really like any other Devil May Cry game. These dudes told Ninja Theory no, it has to be different, and pushed the team to go really far out, which is how we ended up with a much more Western influenced game than the typical it's anime but also a video game Devil May Cry.
Young offenders rehabilitation program. Subject 64432B. Psychoevaluation treatment. Day 13. Resume. What is your name?
Dante first appeared in this trailer. People hated it. Complaints ranged from why isn't his hair white, why does he look like a meth addict, so they changed that up for the final release of course, but they kept the patch of white hair for story purposes. So yes, we were supposed to get another classic anime-fueled Devil May Cry. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's actually talk about the narrative. Dante is a young 20-something-year-old living in a trailer down by the river.
In a van down by the river.
He kills demons. Kat, the love interest, shows up. He finds out about Limbo, the demon dimension set between heaven and hell.
How come I can see you clearly?
I'm a medium, a psychic. I can phase into Limbo and communicate with you. I can see you, talk to you, but I'm not actually in Limbo with you. The Hunter has dragged you into Limbo. I can get you out.
I've been down here before. I know how to get out. You fight whatever shit-sucking demon dragged you in here.
You don't want to fight the hunter. He's not your regular demon.
To make a long story short, the ruler of the demon world is Mundus. Mundus controls the world through evil Alex Jones brainwashing everyone and Demon Mountain Dew.
Soon I will own everything worth owning. I will control the world through debt. I have absolute power.
The world is at last your bitch, as am I.
Silver Sachs Tower, the world's most powerful investment bank. And who runs it? CEO Kyle Ryder, a human vessel, the physical manifestation of Mundus, the Demon King. Through debt, he controls everything. To Mundus, the world is a factory farm for human souls, and he likes to keep his animals monitored and docile. The monitoring is done by the Raptor News Corporation, a global network of CCTV cameras, satellites, and spies. The way he keeps us docile is a little more insidious.
What is it?
It's in your hand. Planet Earth's most popular soft drink, Virility. The demons have spiked it.
Dante meets up with his twin brother Vergil, who is head of the Order, aka Anonymous in this universe, and with his super hackerman skills, along with Dante and Kat, are going to take down Mundus, who trapped their dad and killed their mom when they were kids.
Dante, it really is you? You don't remember me.
No.
My name is Vergil. I established the Order to help find a way to fight the demons.
Besides swords and bullets, you mean?
Such weapons can win battles, but not the war. We use force, yes, but we also use intelligence, politics, propaganda.
You really believe you can make a dent?
Make a dent? With the two of us working together, I believe that we can defeat them.
So that's what this is about. You need me to fight the demons, help you save the world.
What else were you planning on doing with your life?
You guys do seem really nice, but I'm more of a loner type. Trust issues, work alone, that kind of thing.
Dante, I don't think you understand what is at stake.
If you want to leave, turn your back on me, I'm powerless to stop you. But you'll be making a grave mistake. Not just for yourself, but for mankind.
For mankind?
Yes!
What makes you think I give a shit?
Why did Mundus do this? Because they are the chosen ones, and are both half demon and half angel, Nephilim, making them the only ones who can kill the Demon King.
Knew no limit. He hunted the lovers down. Evil was murdered by his own hand. And for Sparta, he demanded a more brutal fate. Endless punishment and pain. Because according to legend, the only beings that can slay a Demon King are Nephilim, a hybrid of angel and demon. Those hybrids now exist, you and I.
We learn about Kat's backstory. DmC is like super dark here.
Is it relevant?
I'd like to know who I'm risking life and limb with. He's my brother, he's trying to save the world. What's your story? I trust you. You can trust me too.
I was in a foster home. My foster father was a demon. He attacked me most nights. I had to get out.
Nightmares.
It's okay. I felt nothing. I couldn't physically escape, so I found another way. I aimlessly wandered limbo in spirit form. I found Vergil there. He heard my cry for help. He helped me to deal with the demons, both figuratively and literally. I killed the bastard.
We learn that Dante as a kid was left in a demon-run orphanage, so you just know that this kid's got trauma.
Come. Your eyes really do open up to evil everywhere. I took a stand, fought back, killed, no matter the consequences. So I chose my path and I lived by it. And after all that anger, violence, and death, you have to dig deep. Dig into your own heart. To see if you're still sane. Or if you can still call yourself human.
And we learn that Vergil is the rich kid in this Prince and the Pauper style tale. Together, these guys take down Mundus' operations. They shut down his evil soda factory run by the Slurm Queen from Futurama. No, I'm not the only one who's made that comparison.
I think you're all mixed up.
his evil news network run by evil Alex Jones.
Breaking news, Bob. You're fired.
Do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons.
And they kill his baby mama and unborn demon spawn, causing all hell to break loose. Literally, hell breaks loose.
I'm not gonna kill you or Mundus' spawn. I'll let you both live if you do exactly as I say. Fuck.
Oh no!
They climb the evil boss tower with a really cool explanation cinematic. I'm not even kidding, this is one of the coolest cinematics in the entire game. They meet and kill Mundus, and it turns out the real bad guy all along was your twin brother.
What is...
You found your inner devil, all right. But you have yet to discover your full potential.
Mainly, I just want to kill the Demon King named Mundus.
And if you do kill Mundus, who would take his place?
Vergil lusts for power and believes it's his right to rule over the human population, especially since they just killed the literal king of demons. And then we have the final boss fight where you fight your twin brother.
Free from the demons. The path is clear for us to rule.
What did you just say?
The path is clear for us to rule.
To rule what?
This. Everything.
Vergil.
You mean like Mundus?
No. No. We'll be nothing like Mundus. We'll respect our subjects, not enslave them.
Subjects?
He means you. He means humans.
I thought we were fighting for freedom.
It was his freedom we were fighting for, not yours.
Don't be so simplistic. Humans are frail. They're like children. They need protection. Not just from others, but from themselves. We, you and I, have saved them.
You and I saved them?
Who else?
A human.
Cat was useful, but...
Useful?
Cat saved my life. Cat held out under torture to keep your existence a secret. Cat led us through the tower to Mundus' lair. We would have failed 20 times over if it weren't for her.
Listen. If you can't see the chaos that humans will cause, if you don't want the responsibility of protecting them, then stand aside. I'll rule alone.
I didn't help you destroy Mundus so that you could take his place. I can't let you do this, Vergil.
And I can't let you stop me, brother. Stand aside.
Don't do this.
Vergil, please.
Stay out of this!
Almost turned to the dark side, but thankfully love finds a way.
Dante, don't kill him. Please. I am begging you. Please stop.
world is under my protection now.
You've chosen the wrong side. You're not human, Dante. You never will be.
The brothers go their separate ways, and it leaves us hanging on a cliffhanger that we will never see the resolution to. Even the DLC where you play as Vergil ends on a sequel setup, but because this game was universally hated by the community on release, that sequel is never happening. And that is the entire story, give or take, of the Devil May Cry reboot. Of course, I've glossed over loads and loads and loads of details. Now, I said earlier that fans are starting to actually warm up to this release. The Steam release has an overwhelmingly positive review section, and of course we had the Definitive Edition, which I talked about the gameplay changes earlier. However, the Definitive Edition also goes over two very important changes from the vanilla version that are simply lost because the vanilla version never got an update to the Definitive Edition, and as far as I know, the only thing that the modders have modded in from the Definitive Edition are all the gameplay changes and not necessarily the costumes or the cutscenes. The Definitive Edition adds one more costume where you can play as classic Devil May Cry 1 Dante. I will admit that the Devil May Cry 3 and 1 skins look like sort of bad cosplay, but that's just a outcome of the engine they were using and the model selection. The other two big changes here for the Definitive Edition that should have been included, at least cutscene wise, for vanilla, are that immediately after the wife and baby killing from Vergil, which admittedly Dante is very against, they have an extra cutscene showing Kat lying down, healing from her wounds, as well as Vergil and Dante talking about how fucked up it was that Vergil just killed a more or less innocent demon woman, despite her being the wife of in-game Satan and carrying in-game Satan's demon spawn. Even though she tried to kill Dante, Dante has a moral compass that Vergil simply doesn't have. That little argument completely changes the characterization of these characters from vanilla to Definitive Edition.
Who knows how many people die out there? Hundreds of thousands.
My decision. My cross to bear.
You have no right to decide the fate of so many.
I know it was extreme, okay? I know there was a cost. But it worked. Mundus acted impulsively, in anger. The Hellgate is spent, and Mundus with it. For the time being, at least. But now is the time to strike.
Cat is in no state to do anything.
Yes, I am. You need me.
I seriously can't stress enough how important this little cutscene actually is. We also have a change of the ending from vanilla to Definitive Edition. In the ending of vanilla, Dante is very much swinging back and forth between heaven and hell, his angel side and his devil side, especially through the Michael Jackson sort of ending, the eyes glowing red at the very end, symbolizing he may or may not be corrupted or at least heading down that path. Again, we will never get a sequel, so this is never going to be answered. I do think it's an interesting character choice that Dante is struggling between his humanity, wanting to be more human even though he's not, his angel side, and his devil side, which is why I actually like the Nephilim change, being half angel and half devil, rather than half human and half angel, although of course that does have its services within the classic series. Anyways, the main ending for the Definitive Edition that's changed is that we see Dante be more flirty with Kat. Throughout the game, I've very much glossed over their relationship. I will say that even though people don't like the writing of this reboot, it is very much more character-focused, character-developed, world-building focused than anything the classic games have ever done. Regardless, we see Dante in this ending, you know, walking back with Kat after the whole ordeal, and of course, because he's a bit of a horn dog and still classic Dante, whether you guys want to believe it or not, he's flirting with her, she laughs, and he grabs her butt. Why? Because they're in a relationship by the ending of this game. If you don't believe me, I'll get to it right now as we try to fix the narrative of Devil May Cry Reboot, tie it into Devil May Cry 3, and even compare Devil May Cry 3 with this reboot and just how similar they really are. Feel free to disagree with me, but Devil May Cry Reboot is a rehash of Devil May Cry 3 and Devil May Cry 1 lore thrown in there. Of course, if you want to blame anybody, blame Capcom, the guys who pushed Ninja Theory in this direction in the first place. On with the video. Now, let's try and fix it. So, grab your tinfoil hats, gang, and keep an open mind. I went over how Ninja Theory wanted to make this just another Devil May Cry game at the very beginning of this section. And I believe, personally, again, this is just my own tinfoil hat theory, that they were making a prequel to Devil May Cry 3 before everything went tits up. Think about it. In Devil May Cry 3, Dante is a young, brash dude. He's wacky woohoo pizza man. It's been a year since him and Vergil last met. He's not in a trailer anymore. Kat isn't there because she died in that ensuing year of killing demons, or, if you want to be more hopeful, left Dante to go study with more powerful witches, maybe even Bayonetta, who knows, and help with X or Y part of the world. He still has some lineage trauma to deal with and all that stuff that's going on, okay? Dante has always been a jokester, even from Devil May Cry 1. That'll never change. But him joking all the time is a cover-up. He has unresolved problems, and the only way he knows how to deal with it is to joke. He's given up his vices of drinking, hookering, and drugs because you can't really kill demons if you get lung cancer, and the chances are you are too busy killing demons to buy a hooker. We just killed Mundus a year ago or so. So how does he show up later on in Devil May Cry 3 and in the original Devil May Cry 1? What if the big old demon we killed in this game wasn't Mundus and was Mundus's right-hand man? Alright? Seriously. Swap generic mob boss Mundus for any other ding-dong and give him the name of Morlock or something else and call it a day. Mundus is too busy in the underworld to bother with ruling the human population, so why not hand it off to someone else? The only reason Mundus would care or even bother with Dante and Vergil is because he knows that they are a threat. They are the only two that can kill Mundus and the only two who can kill upper demons, let's just say, for the sake of Mob Boss Morlock Ding Dong, okay? We killed generis Mob Boss Morlock and his demon wife. We outright stop the mind control of humans, but in doing so, all of this, everything that Dante and Vergil have done exposes themselves. Mundus now knows they exist, and they aren't dead yet, and they are a threat. However, because Sparta, Dante and Vergil's father, trapped by Mundus before he was exiled or killed, whatever, take your pick, he can't do anything yet and bides his time because Sparta trapped him or something. Limbo spills out into the human world at the end of Devil May Cry, and that explains how demons manage to show up throughout the rest of the series, and they are a threat to humanity. Dante, accepting his duties, starts the Devil May Cry business. A year goes by and bang, Devil May Cry 3 starts. Personality changes and all. Character development growth and everything. The biggest complaint, and I do mean the biggest, is how Dante and Vergil are handled here in this Devil May Cry reboot. Edgelord would be the word. Dante, although basically being the exact same character, swears now, like a lot.
Or mother. I don't know my mother, but if you're calling me a son of a bitch, you wouldn't be the first. I've been down here before. I know how to get out. You fight whatever shit-sucking demon dragged you in here.
Whereas anime Dante didn't really.
Zip it, or I'll pierce that big nose.
That could be a problem.
To the party? What's the hurry? Didn't you get an invitation?
New Dante drinks, smokes, he fucks. Anime Dante is a total virgin who eats pizza, watches cartoons, and surfs on demons. He's a fun-loving guy, for sure. Vergil is practically unchanged. We know in the end he's the same old Vergil who lusts for power and thinks he's superior than everyone else, and even though diehard fans know he's the bad guy, the way he's handled in this DmC reboot I think is pretty good. He's nice at times, he cares for his brother, but he bites at Kat, showing his true nature a few times, and sadly, instead of making this part of his little DLC expansion, there's more character development in a tie-in comic that goes even further, showing he doesn't give a shit about humans and would gladly leave Kat behind in hell instead of saving her. It also establishes that Vergil starts to fall in love with her, but even that isn't enough to stop him from being a total dick. I honestly don't understand the complaint about Vergil's character being ruined somehow when he's still a backstabbing villain willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants no matter the cost. Vergil, in his Downfall DLC, literally goes through his own personal jealous hell, killing the remains of his love and humanity, just so he can get more power. Dante isn't much different either. Take away all of his swearing and substance abuse, and you are left with a less wacky woohoo pizza man Dante, but still a pizza man Dante. Shut off from the world, dealing with trauma, doesn't care much about humanity until he finally steps up to be a bigger person, and even he gets the white hair in the end, and we see how he gets the white hair in the end. I'm not saying we need all the answers for every question, but considering so far that the core Devil May Cry series has managed to explain every little detail fans have wanted to know, are you really gonna tell me that DmC is bad for doing the exact same thing? Now, admittedly, throughout all this explanation of Dante and Vergil, I've been very brief about it and very surface level, if you want to call it that. Question that I ask of everyone out there, every really hardcore Devil May Cry fan who hates this reboot, and every Devil May Cry fan who likes this reboot, is actually sit back and compare these characters yourself. Straight up, go watch a movie version of the DmC reboot, and then go watch a movie version of Devil May Cry 3, let's say. Let's not take the other games into account, because pretty much Devil May Cry reboot is a remake almost of Devil May Cry 3, okay? Just for a base grounding here. We take Devil May Cry 3 Dante. Take him from the very first mission, okay? He's a little bit sarcastic. He kind of has a dick tone to his voice.
Sorry, not open for business yet. I haven't even picked a name for this joint, and I'm already getting calls. Well, if you want to use the bathroom, help yourself. The toilet's in the back.
And that's how he is throughout the entire experience of Devil May Cry 3. He's very harsh to speaking with these demons, though he doesn't swear, like, at all. It's just not in his character. He's also like that in Devil May Cry 1. I think it's fair to take some of that because there's some Devil May Cry 1 elements as well in this reboot. But the whole main point is that he has a sort of asshole tone throughout the entire experience, even when he's talking with Lady, until he gets to, know her a little bit more. And of course, at the ending, we see him try to reconcile with Vergil. If you take Devil May Cry Reboot Dante, and like I said, take away all of his substance abuse with the drinking, the drugs, and the whoring, and take away all the massive amounts of swearing that he does in this game, and you are still left with what? The kind of dickish tone of Devil May Cry 3 Dante, who can, of course, simmer down and become a little bit more nicer and human as he meets these characters and grows as a bit of a person, just like in Devil May Cry 3. And of course, throughout the reboot experience, we see him grow as a character. And like I said in my ending of the story explanation almost, is that this is the only Dante, I would argue, that has real character development. Of course, Devil May Cry 3 Dante has a lot of character development, but it's very subtle, just like this one. Only this one does throw it in your nose just a little bit. The infamous Not in a Million Years scene where Reboot Dante has, of course, his black mohawk and a wig of white hair falls on his head is a clear nod to classic Dante. This pissed off so many people, it's ridiculous. But in a million other TV shows or video games where they allow you to wear the old costume or even acknowledge your origins, they do the exact same thing. It's a very Hollywood trope to poke fun of the original look, but also pay tribute to it at the exact same time. That's what this reboot is doing with the Not in a Million Years wig scene.
Not in a million years.
And like I said, we see Dante's physical as well as verbal transformation and personal transformation throughout this reboot. In the very beginning of the game, he swears every 5 minutes. It can't be understated that in the first couple of missions, all he's doing is swearing left and right. And then at the very ending of the game, the last third of the game, let's say, his swearing is dramatically cut back to where, yes, he is still swearing, but it's way, way less. And of course, the biggest example here is that Devil May Cry 3 Dante goes from, I don't know about my origins, I don't really care about being a son of Sparta. That's the difference between these characters. In Devil May Cry Reboot, he doesn't actually know that he is the son of Sparta. In Devil May Cry 3, it's simply deflection. In the reboot, he of course gets the amnesiac memory back in the second or third mission, negating the entire I don't know who I am, I don't know my origins at all. Vergil fleshes it out and fills in the blanks a little bit more. In Devil May Cry 3, we see the exact same thing. He goes from, I don't know my origins, I don't care about my origins, I'm not a son of Sparta, I do not care about humanity. He then meets a woman, Lady, or Cat in the reboot. They have the exact same father trauma, only one is a victim and the other is a victim of another circumstance. Nearly the exact same story, only way less gory and violent. And of course, this female character that he grows attached to throughout their couple of meetings within the Devil May Cry 3 game, as well as the reboot, they're there for the entire time, of course. It changes Dante as a character, so I definitely think it's a weak argument that, oh, the girl changes his personality when it happens in Devil May Cry 3 as well. Dante, of course, in both games flirts with her ridiculously. And of course, in Reboot, they end up in a relationship, whereas it's hinted throughout the rest of the series. Of course, we're only using 3 here, that a relationship may or may not be a thing. I don't know. I don't think Dante in the core series is a relationship guy. He's just too busy eating pizza, being a wacky woohoo pizza man, and killing demons, and still dealing with his family fucking trauma drama. Like, I really can't stress this enough for you guys to go back, watch these games as movie forms or whatever, and kind of take it in yourself. If you ignore all the swearing in Reboot and take Dante as a face value reskinned version of Devil May Cry 3 Dante, without all the swearing and the drugs abuse, you will have very much Devil May Cry 3 Dante. Like, come on guys, just look at these comparisons. And I've already highlighted the other moments that make them almost the exact same character from 3 to the Reboot. Vergil, on the other hand, is a bit different, although his lust for power is still the same. Vergil knows he's a son of Sparta, he very much embraces it. He wants more power, so much so he even wants to rule humanity and become leader of the underworld. Kind of like he did in Devil May Cry 5, but we're not using that here, we're just going with 3. Devil May Cry 3, the story is they are sons of Sparta, one of them doesn't accept it, the other does, and of course the other is just, I need to be as powerful as my dad. The corruption of Vergil is taken through Mundus. Mundus corrupts Vergil and he becomes a slave for him for like 20 years or something. In Devil May Cry Reboot, it's of his own doing. Devil May Cry 3, we see that he has corrupted Vergil, and that's how we get Nilo Angelo in his alternate form. In the Reboot, it's very much Vergil going through his own personal hell, sort of like Dante's Inferno, the book and characters that's inspired by, of course. And that he kills his emotions, he kills the ghostly apparition of his mother in a sort of emotional state, he kills his brother Dante, and of course he lets Kat die as well. He goes through this emotional trauma and becomes the corrupted Vergil that we see in Devil May Cry 1 and the ending of Devil May Cry 3. So although the journey is a little bit different, the destination is still the same. And of course, with that little quote, it's always the journey, it's never the destination. But in Devil May Cry series, I definitely think it is about the destination as well as the journey, just a little bit. So if I haven't done a good enough job in explaining where I'm coming from to make you guys see where I'm coming from, hopefully you'll do it yourself. But I will leave this video with just a bunch of clips, if I haven't done it throughout this section, back to back of how similar each character actually is. And maybe you'll start to see the light.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
This has been an incredibly long video for me. I haven't done one of these in a long time. It's taken me like a week. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have been Calypso, and I will see you in the next one.
I'm not going anywhere. Besides, there's no place to go. Look around.
Are you the human, the son of Sparta who challenges the darkness, Mundus?
Block off, Featherface, or you can stick around and find out the hard way.
Who's there?
It is I. You flocking bastards.
Well, this is my kind of rain. No wonder the sky looks so funny today.
Let me go!
Let you go? But it would be a waste if you ended up as just a pretty stain.
Just be careful. It can get rough in there.
I like it rough.
Is this really going to work? He doesn't seem to care.
Wow, I've never seen a talking mud before. You know, in a dog show, you definitely take first place.
You make a mockery of me?
Easy, Fido. How about I take you out for a walk? Come on, puppy. Let's go.
They are disgusting, degrading, ghastly, sleazy, purient, and generally nauseating. The worst of them is Dante. The whole world would benefit greatly by his non-existence.
I'm taking you off the air.
You think so?
Ooh, I love a fast woman.
Shut up! He was obsessed with becoming the devil. So much he killed his own wife. For that he butchered innocent people too. He's the most vile kind of creature. Top it off. That filthy scum is my father.
I was in a foster home. My foster father was a demon. He attacked me most nights. I had to get out. I killed the bastard.
My name is Lady. Goodbye, Father.
No!
Dante, I don't think you understand what is at stake.
If you want to leave, turn your back on me, I'm powerless to stop you. But you'll be making a grave mistake. Not just for yourself, but for mankind.
For mankind?
Yes.
What makes you think I give a shit?
So, my mother's amulet is the key that unlocks the door to the demon world. Good plan, Pop.
Just the opposite, actually. Originally, it was the key to the demon world, but was given to humans as a gift.
It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I'll take care of him.
Why do you care so much?
This whole business started with my father sealing the entrance between the two worlds. And now, my brother's trying to break that spell and turn everything into Demonville. This is my family matter, too. Quite frankly, at first, I didn't give a damn. But because of you, I know what's important now. I know what I need to do.
Seems you underestimated Kat.
I didn't.
You really care about her. About all of this. You once said you didn't give a shit.
And I saved them? Who else? A human. Kat saved my life. Kat held out under torture to keep your existence a secret. Kat led us through the tower to Mundus' lair. We would have failed 20 times over if it weren't for her. Listen. The world is under my protection now.
You've chosen the wrong side. You're not human, Dante. You never will be.
Give that to me.
No way. You got your own.
Well, I want yours too.
What are you gonna do with all that power, huh? No matter how hard you try, you're never gonna be like Father.
We're wasting time!
We are the sons of Sparta. Within each of us flows his blood. But more importantly, his soul! And now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you!
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power. Am I being defeated?
What's wrong? Is that all you got? Come on, get up. You can do better than that.
The portal to the human world is closing, Dante. Because the amulets have been separated.
Let's finish this, Vergil. I have to stop you. Even if that means killing you.
No one can have this, Dante. It's mine. It belongs to a son of Sparta. Leave me and go, if you don't want to be trapped in the demon world. I'm staying. This place was our father's home.
What happened to us, Father? Dante betrayed me. There's nothing left for me here. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Got a last comic line, Dante? Or are we all talked out? Good.
No! Please, don't!
You don't need it anymore. Power. I need more power. You're still alive.
Is there a way out of here?
Yes, there's an emergency gate. I'll take you there.
Let's go.
No, not yet.
What?
There are terabytes of sensitive data here. We cannot let them get their hands on it.
What does it matter?
They'll know everything about our plans. Get their hands on that data, everything that I've worked for will be for nothing. Cat. Yes. Arm self-destruct. I can't do it from limbo.
The demons will break it in. We don't have time for this.
Then make time, Dante!
Shit, Vergil.
Cat, do it now! Let's go, Dante.
Wait.
What?
What about Cat?
There's no way out in the real world.
No, we can't help her. Let's go.
We can't just leave her.
Think, Dante. We're in limbo. She's in the real world. This place is gonna blow any minute. He knows my name, but that's it. Not that I'm your brother, nor that I'm Nephilim.
She must have been strong to hold out.
Yeah, she did well. But we can't save her.
What do you mean?
You can't seriously think that I would trade your life for hers.
No, I'm not saying...
Apart from the fact that you're my brother, you're the key to destroying
I'm not
mine.
saying we trade me for her. I'm saying we offer another trade. Captain Mundus' mistress, Lilith.
Why would Mundus care about one of his whores?
Because she carries his child.
What? How can you know this?
When I was at the tower, I met a demon named Phineas. He told me.
Yes, I've heard that name. This is amazing. We have access to Mundus' unborn child? This is exactly what we need to get him out of his lair.
No, we use this to save Cat!
Dante, that's madness. You would risk the future of mankind for a girl.
Cat put herself through hell to protect us. We'll find another way to get Mundus.
Dante.
I am not abandoning her.
I could see that. Okay. We'll do it your way, brother.
Why do you refuse to gain power? The power of our father, Sparta.
Father? I don't have a father. I just don't like you, that's all.
Fortress. Might controls everything. And without strength, you cannot protect anything. Let alone yourself. Why didn't you kill her? Perhaps because she's your daughter? Did some pesky fatherly love get in your way?
That's none of your...
To further your study of the black arts, you sacrificed your loving wife to become a devil as well. Knowing this, I thought you'd be more useful to me. But I was wrong. No wonder your attainment of power is incomplete.
What about you? You're an incomplete being as well. Both demon and human blood mingle in your veins.
Shut up. Now that the final door is open, I have no use for you.